Hi, this is Jared from Shunome, and today I decided to record a video instead of write an email. Um, there's an architect here in Seattle who sent me a question about schedules, specifically how to get multiple items in a schedule to list together. And I figured instead of writing him an email, why don't I just record a video so that he can learn about it and then everyone else can. So, specifically, the question is how to get items that, for whatever reason, need to be together show up together without awkward workarounds in ArchiCAD. The question this architect had is about cabinetry, but windows and doors are a great example. So let's talk about how to do it with a window schedule. This right here is a great example where these two windows are modeled as separate units, or separate objects, but on a schedule we want them together because when the window rep goes through the schedule and creates his bid, what he wants is each of those to be separate. So here's just a bid from a recent project that you can see. Here's this W105, and it's two units. It's a fixed window and I think a casement. And so we have unit A1 and unit A2, and they're both actually part of W105. I should actually talk with the Windows spec guy to get this a little clearer, but the point being here is this W105 is actually two things coming from the window manufacturer. So it'll be good to have those as separate objects in ArchiCAD because they're going to be separate objects in the real world, but to have them together because they're being bid together and treated as one unit. Like we're going to go for and buy this whole window grouping or not at all. Okay, hopefully that's not too confusing. So let's open up a exterior window schedule, and you can see here's my window schedule. And if we look at W101, which is the front door, it's got side lights and an in-swing door. So let's jump to that just so you can see it. Switch plans. Okay. So here again we have two fixed windows, which are the side lights, and then the front door. All these three things are built individually in the factory, and then will be ganged together and shipped to site. So we need them to both be individual, but together. So in the schedule, how that's done is, well, first off, I want both side lights to read together, because I don't need them to be separate. That's just a lot of extra ink and whatever. So merge uniform items. If they're the same, they'll merge down. So now side light quantity 2. And then we have this show headline. So if we turn off the headline, we're going to see everything listed individually. And if we click that, we can merge the headline based on, let's see, some criteria. So you can do it off the first scheduled field, the first 2, the first 3, first 4, etc. You can add separated rows and header text and all that other stuff. Let me see what that looks like real quick. Oh, just even more gibberish, which we don't need. Turn off that. Actually, header text could be nice. Sorry, I'm now just futzing here. Let's turn those off. You can look at those later. So by setting the headline for me for the first 2, the ID and the story, I'm now grouping these individual objects together. This main level actually probably don't even need. We could just get rid of that from the scheme settings here. Just remove that. What I like about that is when you look at this schedule, you see the ID and the story, so it's just one more way for people to understand the schedule. In here, there's the model type, quantity, the width and height, which I've placed separately because these are all now automatic, so if I change this height, it will update the schedule. Getting a little off topic here in that talking about window schedules now, but why not? So here, rough opening, unfortunately, for my purposes, had to do this all all manually. So in 1, I write gang unit, this piece of text, and then I just go manually add it because I'm having to add the width of 2 units and the height. So ArchiCAD unfortunately can't do that math in this scenario. But everything else here is pretty much automatic, so I'm okay with it. Glass type, this is often something that matters. I think in this project there's no frosted glass, but sometimes that matters. And so what I've done is set up a surface that is clear or frosted. If you were specifying low E or any of these other types of glass, you could set up a surface and have that. Then you're just changing the surface here. You could rename the surface and it will propagate everywhere. And also, if the type of glass actually changes the appearance of the window in 3D, then this is all linked, and that's great. Special notes if you have special notes. So one thing I also do for window schedules, since I'm now going completely off the original concept here, is I want to list the type. Is it in-swing door? Is it a side light? Is it fixed? Is it awning, etc.? So it would be great if the ArchiCAD objects were just labeled awning or ribbon and not W awning 17. This is a project done in 17. So that's confusing. So what I do is I have this type off at the last field, and then just manually go through and type everything in. I wish it weren't manual, but at least there's an automatic part so I can quickly go fixed, awning, fixed, ribbon, and pull that out. And then when I place this on a sheet, I just shrink down the schedule so you don't see that last field. That's about it. Other things, since we're talking about schedules, remember cell borders, we can turn off the cell borders. So, for instance, I probably actually should do it this way so that it's a little clearer what's what. That's one thing, but I think you should remember is that ArchiCAD's default is to have a lot of borders, and it's really kind of ugly. So to remember, you can go through and turn off too many, but you can really tweak the cell borders so that this thing really starts to read. And again, by grouping these by ID, so this side light and this door both have the same ID, and then showing the headline, we can start ganging things in the schedule underneath this headline, which I think is nice. And depending on how you turn on and off borders, and set text sizes and some other things, you can get this to look pretty nice. I think that's all. Let me see if there's anything else. Okay, since we're talking about schedules, I'll just talk about how I set this one up. I have done the element type is all windows or all doors. So this schedule is both a window and a door schedule, which is great. Doesn't have to be just window objects. I could have added also skylights. And then I restricted the element ID to anything that starts with a W, which means if I have an empty opening or if I have something else which is not supposed to be in the schedule, it doesn't start in W, the ID doesn't start in W, then it doesn't show up. And then just exterior walls and foundation walls because I have a different interior door schedule. Here's schedule fields, which I'm going to not talk about today because these should be more IFC based than they really are. Okay, let's actually just open up the interior door schedule so you can see maybe how that's a little different. So the big difference here, height's automatic again, rough opening is manual. I have this same library part over here, so I can make sure I catch which ones are sliders, which ones are pocket doors, etc. Here, I've made the headline just the story, so we're breaking it up by main level and upper level in this project. Then under scheme settings, I also have the zone from and the zone to. So doors have an opening direction. So I've gone through and made sure all my zones are in there properly. Then all the doors swing in or out of the zones, which are my rooms. And I've made sure everything aligns properly. You'll notice some don't have open from because these are glass doors and showers and toilets that are just a door opening from a non-zoned space into a zone. I guess I could have made a zone for the toilet stall or for the shower, but that for this project didn't seem necessary. Let's go back to the scheme settings. And again, you can see I've done all door types and all window types just to cover my bases in case I had some weird interior door that was a window object. Then I'm doing layers, interior walls and half walls, because again, there's a couple instances where I need that. And then the element ID is not empty. And so anytime I have an empty opening that I don't want to schedule, I just change the ID to that. I have some schedule fields. And let's jump to the plan, see if anything else jumps out at me. I think that's all. So there you go. Hopefully you guys learned something about schedules, and there was my impromptu video on schedules instead of an email. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.